You clicked on a video about the M5 Mac Mini, and you're probably thinking one of three things. Can this tiny box really replace my big expensive PC? Is this actually worth my money, or is it just Apple hype? Or if I buy this, will it last me for years, or be outdated in a year? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'm going to walk you through exactly what this little machine can and can't do. Who should absolutely buy it? Who should absolutely avoid it? And the one mistake that quietly ruins the Mac Mini experience for a lot of people. And it doesn't matter if you're watching this in the M2 era, the M3 era, or when Apple finally drops an M5 chip. The core questions are the same. Is the Mac Mini powerful enough, flexible enough, and good enough to be the brain of your entire setup? Let's start with something nobody tells you in the marketing. The Mac Mini is not a full computer in the way most people imagine it. It's the brain, just the brain. No monitor, no keyboard, no mouse, no webcam. If you buy a Mac Mini expecting a complete out-of-the-box experience, you're going to be disappointed. But if you understand what it really is, this tiny box might be the most powerful, cost-effective upgrade you can make to your desk. So imagine this. You sit down at your desk, no giant noisy tower on the floor, no laptop fan screaming the second you open Chrome. It's just a clean desk. A nice monitor, your favorite keyboard and mouse. In this small, silent box sitting off to the side, barely taking up any room, quietly running everything, you hit the power button. The system wakes almost instantly. Your apps open fast, machine stays cool and nearly silent. And you realize this doesn't feel like a budget Mac. It feels like a serious grown-up computer that happens to be tiny. So what makes the Mac Mini so interesting? Especially with Apple Silicon like the M2 Pro, and whatever comes next like an M5. First, raw performance. This isn't the old Intel Mini that struggled under any real workload. And if you work with big files, video projects, raw photos, audio projects, consider a bit more internal storage or plan to use a fast external SSD from day one. That single buying decision is what separates the people who love their Mac Mini for years from the people who complain that it slowed down on them. Let's go through a few types of people and see if you spot yourself. First, the everyday user. If you just need a solid, fast, reliable computer for browsing, email, watching videos, streaming Office or Google Docs, and some light creative work, the Mac Mini is serious overkill. And the best way? It's going to feel fast for a long time. You won't hear fans, it won't heat up your room, and it won't eat your entire desk. Second, the creator on a budget. If you're into YouTube, video editing, podcasting, photo editing, or music production, this is where the Mini becomes interesting. With Apple Silicon, even the base models handle 4K editing and something like Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve surprisingly well, especially if you're not stacking crazy effects and multiple heavy streams of footage. If you go for a higher end configuration, more RAM, more GPU cores, maybe a Pro chip, you can absolutely build a serious editing or music rig around this tiny box. And the cool thing, you can put the money you save on the computer into things that actually affect your work. A better microphone. What? Better speakers, better camera, better lighting. Third, developers and coders. If you write code, build apps, or work on web projects, the Mac Mini is kind of a sweet spot. You get a Unix-like environment, access to macOS tools. And if you need to build for iOS or macOS, this gets you in the door for a much lower price than a MacBook Pro. Hook it up to a couple of monitors. You've got a quiet, powerful dev. A machine that doesn't break the bank. Fourth, the second brain crowd. Maybe you already have a gaming PC or a work laptop, or both. The Mac Mini can be your always-on second brain, a dedicated machine for creative work, for automation, for home server, for Plex, for a music studio, for coding, or even for running your business. Small, quiet, always there. Now, who should? Probably not buy a Mac Mini? If you absolutely need portability, this is not for you. It doesn't have a screen, a battery, or a keyboard. You're not tossing this in a backpack and working at a coffee shop. If you want one single all-in-one device with everything built in, and you never want to think about buying a monitor, the Mac Mini might not be your best match. An iMac or a MacBook might line up better with that. And if you're a serious gamer who lives inside the latest AAA Windows-only titles, the Mac Mini is not a magic fix. You can do some gaming. Apple Silicon can handle a lot of casual and mid-range games, and some bigger ones are being ported. But if your world is ultra-high-end Windows gaming, a dedicated gaming PC or console still makes more sense. So if you're still here, you're probably thinking, okay, this tiny box might actually be for me. What's the catch? The catch is the ecosystem. The Mac Mini by itself is just a metal rectangle. The experience you get depends almost entirely on what you pair it with. Get a bad monitor with terrible colors and low brightness. It won't matter how powerful the chip is, your experience will feel cheap. Use a flimsy keyboard and a laggy mouse. The whole machine will feel worse than it actually is. But here's the upside. You get to build your perfect custom setup. Over time, start with a basic monitor, then upgrade later. Try a mechanical keyboard. Get a better mouse. Mount the Mac Mini under your desk or behind your display so you never even see it. Piece by piece, you shape the exact experience you want, instead of being locked into whatever Apple glued to the side of a laptop. And this is where the M5 Mac Mini idea becomes powerful, because whether you're watching this with an M2 model on the market, or an M3, or an M5 in the future, the strategy is the same. Use the Mac Mini as the core of a modular, upgradable desk setup that stays relevant for years. You don't throw everything out when a new chip comes. You don't. Waste money replacing a screen that's still great? You just upgrade the brain when you truly need more power. Now, I promised earlier I'd tell you the one mistake that quietly ruins the Mac Mini for a lot of people. It's not picking the wrong chip. It's not skipping the Pro version. It's not even choosing the wrong amount of storage. It's this. They buy the Mac Mini with no clear plan for their setup. They unbox it, realize they don't have a good monitor, or a decent keyboard, or speakers, or a webcam. So they grab the cheapest options they can find just to get it running. Then they sit down and think, this doesn't feel that impressive? Of course it doesn't. They just built a powerful brain into a weak body. If you want the Mac Mini to feel like a real upgrade, do this instead. Before you hit buy, decide what kind of setup you actually want. One big beautiful 4K monitor, some monitors side by side for productivity, a color-accurate display for editing photos or video, mechanical keyboard with a satisfying click, good speakers or headphones if you care about sound. You don't have to buy everything on day one, but commit to the direction. Because when you give this tiny box the right supporting cast, it stops feeling like a cute little budget Mac and starts feeling like a serious, focused, personalized workstation. So let's bring this down to you. If you're someone who wants a clean, minimal desk, doesn't care about lugging your computer around every day, likes the idea of building your perfect setup piece by piece, and wants a machine that punches way above its size and price, then a Mac Mini, whether it's running an M2 today or an M5 down the line, might honestly be the smartest way to get into or stay in